Hi, friends! Join us as we dive into the themes, metaphors, and foreshadowing of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We are your hosts, Leah,
Sarah, Tabby,
and whether you're a new viewer or a longtime fan, welcome to Becoming Buffy.
Hey guys, welcome back to Becoming Buffy. Today we are talking about Season 4, Episode 14, Goodbye, Iowa. And I'm really struggling here, guys. We were talking about it before the podcast started. This stretch of episodes is just not really my favorite. And it's hard because you can see the potential of what it could have been. And you see there's some really, really good themes and some good ideas, and it could have been so interesting. But they decided to make this season so much about the initiative and less about the individuals that make up the initiative and what make it so compelling, because ultimately Buffy is a character-driven show. And I think it got lost in translation. And so now we're left with Adam versus Maggie Walsh, Riley more than Buffy. And so it's just, I don't know. What do you guys think of this episode?
I don't like the initiative. I think it's really boring. If I wanted to watch a military show, I would watch a military show. That's kind of what the vibe of the initiative gives me. But I will say, I like that Riley isn't cookie cutter in this episode.
Yes,
I like that they
agree.
give him, because here's the thing. I like that they explore love interest in this show. I like that they explored, obviously we love that they explored Angel. I like that they, have Anya more in the show, and that, we have seen, Oz, we got to know Oz. My complaint with Oz and some of the other love interests was that they were too perfect. They didn't have any bad moments. And so I like that with Riley, we really see an ugly side of Riley this episode.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And I like it. I do. I mean, obviously it pisses me off, but I like that he is human. He's going through a huge life change. And especially that's heightened because he's, been fed different toxins and medicines and stuff. And so there's a chemical thing going on as well. And so it's heightened. But just in general, I like that we see him not being so there's emotion. And he really hasn't had a ton of emotion. And I like it. I like that we're seeing him kind of tussle through things, and it may not be, he's just not my favorite character. And so it's not like I'm so compelled, but I like that they chose to do that with his character.
Yeah. I agree. That's a really good way to put it, Leah. And that is something I did appreciate about this episode. And that's when I'm like, oh yeah, I can see where you're going with this character and with this episode and with this season. Again, it's not done super well, and there's some problems that we will talk about for sure. But I did like what you had to say, Leah, about how it's like Riley's breaking out of this idea that has been fed to him since he was, who knows how long. He's still young, but it's been fed to him both, on a physical level and then also a emotional and a mental level. And we're seeing that all come to a head as he's grappling with the truth. And anyone who has come out of a belief system that maybe wasn't the best understands this feeling of my foundation is gone. I'm not sure what is truth and what is not. I've been told that this was what I'm supposed to believe. Sometimes it's life and death. Like if you've been a part of a cult or a really toxic religious organization or whatever. I think that this indoctrination and this breaking out of that is a really interesting storyline, and one that I really resonate with and I absolutely love. And I think it makes Riley infinitely more interesting and more of a compelling character. But real fast before we jump into the episode, just a quick announcement for you guys. We, if you noticed, didn't actually take a break from the podcast during the holidays. And the reason why is because we're going to be taking a hiatus in February. The reason being is Sarah, am moving with my family. We're actually moving cross country. We're getting out of the Air Force. It's just a big move, a huge life change. And it requires just 100% of my attention, as anybody who has ever moved understands. So next week on the 2nd of February, we will have Investigating Angels episode dropping. I've Got You Under My Skin. And then The week after that will be a break. So the 9th and the 16th will be off, but we will be back the 23rd with Becoming Buffy's This Year's Girl. And then we'll just continue as normal after that. So only a couple weeks. We'll be back. Never fear. We're just going to take a couple week break. So yeah. All right, so Goodbye Iowa, written by Marty Noxon, of course, directed by David Solomon, and aired February 15th, 2000. I do have to say, I felt like this was one of Marty's better episodes, because sometimes some of her episodes are a little weird, and some of the dialogue is a little odd and clunky, but I felt like this episode was a bit better. It's not perfect for sure, and there's things that I don't really like about it, but I felt like it was pretty good. So Goodbye Iowa refers to the end of normalcy, Iowa, Leah. That's in the Midwest. It is actually pretty close to.
I know. I've had my lectures.
He's from Iowa. No, it refers to the end of normalcy. So there's a stereotype about Iowa that it is probably like the most like basic corn-fed state out of all the states, that not much happens there. And so there's this idea that Riley is normal. Riley is everything that Buffy is hoping for in the sense of a normal life, but it's Riley's turn to have an identity crisis. Mark Field talks about how this episode is the culmination of all the themes so far: identity, indoctrination, science versus magic, individualism versus collectivism. He talks about how society often dictates what is normal and that they may sometimes clash with our true, authentic self, saying it's indoctrination by society which forces us to be normal, and forcing us to be normal prevents us from developing our authentic identity, and the conditioning we receive from society can be seen as stealing our true organic identity and replacing it with one society prefers. Maggie Walsh was a metaphor for all these aspects of society because she occupied multiple positions, including professor, military leader, etc. She served as a representative of the way school, government, and society in general force us in the same direction, which is also interesting because she's kind of like even a metaphor for motherhood as well in some cases. Like as a mom, you're supposed to guide and teach your kid, like, okay, we don't pick our nose in public. Like we teach our kids certain social cues, often for their benefit, like wash your hands, cleanliness is important. But Maggie represents what happens when you have that toxic mother relationship and that toxic female figure. And it's just interesting because, the hand that rocks the cradle, that whole thing. So Maggie's ideology was shown in A New Man, which we talked about recently, and it was in direct opposition from Giles, who thought Buffy and other young people should be allowed the freedom to develop on their own. Of course, when Maggie couldn't control Buffy, she tried to kill her. So now with Riley, we're seeing what happens when someone has been raised that way, when they've been controlled and told how to develop, and what happens when their worldview begins to crumble. And like we talked about before, Riley is the very definition of normal, as stated throughout the show. And because of that, he's probably going to look the most like what society wants someone to look like, which in some ways is kind of the antithesis of Buffy, who is very anti what society wants her to be. She's an independent woman who has I guess you could say, career, a job on the side. She has superpowers. And so I think that in a lot of ways, it's going to be interesting to see as time goes forward, her and Riley, as he either starts to assimilate and become more like her, or if this is going to completely break him down. This episode, we see denial in Riley, then anger, then questioning, and then we have the crisis point as well. And I don't know, kind of like what we talked about earlier, this episode definitely made me like Riley more than I have before. Again, just bummed that the buildup wasn't better. I feel like this show could have done a better job with making us care more deeply about Riley before this. So the impact of this would have hit harder, because I feel like it's
or just hints of him being drugged. I feel like that was just dropped on us so quickly.
Yeah. And there was even inconsistencies about it, because I think, was it the previous episode where Riley and Buffy wake up together and he takes his pills and we're like, And then in this episode, you find out that the food is drugging them supposedly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's a few things. And I was like, wasn't
also
Buffy eating that food?
Well, but also do they always eat there? What happens if they eat a meal out? What the frick? It just doesn't. It's a bit of a faulty plan.
It's a messy episode in some places. Yeah. I will say the other big bummer for me is this episode jumpstarts the initiative arc as the overarching one, but it does so through Riley not through Buffy. Riley is the emotional crux of this episode and of the season moving forward, not Buffy. And I've been waiting all season to say this, and I can finally say it now. The biggest weakness of season 4 is it often derails Buffy's storyline to focus on Riley. And the arc that is activated in this episode is Riley's, while Buffy has very little at stake emotionally. Sure, she's like, oh, is Riley going to be okay? And she's disturbed because he's not doing well. But at the end of the day, like, who does Adam impact more, Buffy or Riley? Riley. Like, Buffy just needs to beat his butt, you know? So.
I love season 4.
Oh, good. I'm glad someone does.
I thought I would get that off my chest.
And I will say, after this episode, there's like there's a great arc
there's
that's
2
about to
solid
happen.
episodes.
No, we had several really, really great episodes, but like the past like 3 have been just really hard to get through.
I think it's also, this is the first villain that we've had that has like 0 emotional impact on Buffy. The only connection that Adam has to Buffy is through Riley, which is what Sarah said, that Riley is the emotional crux of the show, of the season, not the show.
Season 4 is about Riley's story, really, and not as much Buffy's.
I think that's a huge fault to the show, not because Riley is this awful character, but it's because why have the main character not be the main character of a season?
Right. Or especially the emotional like anchor of the season.
When she has been the three past seasons. I know they were trying to switch it up, but it's like, why wouldn't you try doing that with a main character on the show already? Like if Giles was the main one, or Xander or Willow, like I don't think that would go over wrong. It would be a little funky, but maybe it could be done well. But it's like, why have the new character be the one you're putting all your eggs in their basket type of thing?
Yep, exactly.
No one cares. Like, sorry, if the whole initiative burnt down and Adam, went down with the ship, I'd be like, okay.
And Riley went too. We'd all be like, oh, I'm really sorry for Buffy. Like,
oh, Buffy,
but not because
her
of Riley.
Feelings. But like Riley, I'd be like, okay.
Exactly.
That's so true, because I know the season revolves a lot around Riley, but like I never thought about the specific direction of like this is the first big bad that just like if being taken down in this episode would be like Buffy be like, okay. Whereas like if Buffy took down like the master, that would be a huge like weight off of her shoulders, because she has this huge like anxiety and like fear when it comes to the master. Same thing with Angel. And then with like the mayor, it makes it complicated through Faith. And then Faith is also kind of the big bad of the season. So that would be a huge toll on her, because she's a foil of or like a mirror of like Buffy. But whereas like in this episode, it's like, okay, if you shot him right now, if you beheaded him, we'd be like, okay, next episode, like it has nothing to do with Buffy. So like I've never thought about it like that. Like maybe that's what it is. It's like there's usually like this like anxiety when you get to a Buffy finale, right? I never felt that in season 4, and I just never thought about the fact that like Adam is just there to kind of like represent the scientific world and the magic world, like Sarah said. But like what makes it a season good is like all the stuff you can bring out of Buffy's character. So if he's not representing that in Buffy herself, then it's going to be a flat season.
Yes. But also, the past villains brought stuff out in other characters as well. The Master brought stuff out in Angel, and he brought the gang together because there was a common enemy. Then it was like Angel brought stuff out in Giles because he killed Jenny. Then he brought stuff out in Xander, ugly stuff. Sorry. Then you have Faith, who brought stuff out in Xander and brought stuff out
Willow.
And Willow. And so it was like each villain didn't just target things in Buffy. It targeted things in multiple characters so that you got a full effect. Whereas like the initiative, no one has touched the initiative except for Buffy.
Exactly.
And Riley.
Yep. And that's why I will go down on the ship that killing Maggie Walsh was the worst possible thing they could have done for this season. We talked about this last episode, but who did Maggie Walsh touch? Willow admired her, saw her as like this epitome of like female professor who knows everything, psychology and stuff. It would have affected Giles. Giles was threatened by her. Giles really was frustrated with how Buffy seemed to be replacing him with Maggie. That would have been so interesting to explore.
Willow's her teacher.
Right, Riley with his
Yeah, I
mommy
don't really
issues.
like Walsh, but I would have absolutely taken over Adam because there would have been something there to pull out of each of the characters, and especially Buffy.
Well, and then think about Buffy having to like decide, is she going to kill Maggie, who is human? But then also we would have had our first woman villain, like big bad villain. We haven't had that yet in the show. So, and then on the other end, it's just icky that in a season that is so overtly about the patriarchy versus feminism, they decide to focus on the male representative of that, which is Riley and his emotional story and
True,
journey
in a feminist show.
Exactly. In a season that's all about magic, science, feminine versus masculine. Like it doesn't come out right. And again, all this makes sense once you realize Joss had mommy issues and was working through things and decided to make Riley kind of his voice versus Buffy a little bit. And that's not to say Buffy's autonomy is completely gone and her voice is gone and stuff, but it's why people struggle to emotionally resonate with the big bad of this season is because it ultimately affects Riley more than it affects Buffy. And that's what it is.
So goodbye, Iowa. On that, let's get into this episode. So that we start off like right at the end of last episode. So we're
this
like
is a two-parter.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is technically the second part. Isn't that weird?
Why? What do we mean?
The first
because I already forgot.
Well, okay, it is important and we will actually figure that out in just a minute because if you guys think about it, what happened the night before? Do you guys remember from the last episode or did you just block it out already?
What happened
the
night
while.
before?
Y'all,
she
we
died.
had an entire Christmas break in between.
Okay. You're right. That's fair. Okay. So what happened the night before is Maggie Walsh tried to kill what happened earlier that day is Maggie tried to kill Buffy. The night before is Riley and Buffy slept together for the first time. And then who goes kind of evil? Who seems to be going cookie? Riley. So there's a perpetuation of themes and Buffy's got to be really triggered right now by the fact that, because right now they question, was Riley in on it with Maggie? And for a brief moment, Buffy doesn't know. And I bet she's having flashbacks to Angelus and Angel and stuff. So anyway, thought that was kind of sad.
I never thought about that, but I also don't care that they slept together for the first time last episode. I just assumed this whole time that they were. So you also said cookie instead of kooky.
Oh, did I say cookie? It's so cookie, guys.
I guess who's going a little cookie.
Give him his cookie. He needs a snack. He's off his beds.
So we start off right at the end of last episode in Giles' house. Buffy's kind of like telling the gang, mainly Giles, about what happened with Walsh. And then Spike is just sitting there like giving and feeding in doubt with Riley, which I feel like I'm like, oh, Spike's storyline is somehow has like different facets that we've been missing the past couple of episodes. Like he's been like this source of like comedy and humor, but I feel like the direction that they went with him in this episode, I was like, oh, this is cool. This is interesting. So I appreciate that part. Like he's like feeding a lot of like anxiety into Buffy.
Yes. And that's interesting that you bring that up, Tabs, because Passion the Nerd made a really good point about Spike in this moment. He says, I think it's important to keep in mind that Spike's commentary on Buffy's personal life sometimes feels like it has a whiff of truth to it, but that's because Spike is a manipulator and he knows the best places to stab at Buffy are at the things she already fears about herself. Spike speaks enough truth to seduce Buffy into a bit of the old self-hatred, but I think it's important in our reading of the show to distinguish between truth and Spike's manipulation. And this is where, like, I know I mentioned this before, but this is so interesting because like this moment of doubt it's worse for Buffy because her and Riley just slept together for the first time the night before. And we know that Buffy is sensitive. Like it's echoes of Angelus all over again, not to mention the fact that she was also incredibly hesitant to be in this relationship at all in Doomed because of this very thing. And then while Spike doesn't know about all this, he does know enough and he's using it against her. And my heart breaks for Buffy in this scene.
Well, and then everyone's like looks of like apprehension too. Is that a word?
Yeah, no, it is. Apprehension.
Okay.
Well done.
I was like, I knew apprehensive, but I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. But like everyone like looked and was like real quiet, and you could tell that they were like, we don't know if we trust Riley. And the poor girl
Right.
was like, huh? Like,
Yeah.
I feel for her.
Giles is like, Maggie Walsh tried to kill you? The horror definitely didn't see that one coming.
He's like, how do I muster up some shock here?
He's like so composed, but you can see on the inside, he's like, thank God she died. Thank God.
Buffy says Walsh made sure that Riley wasn't around, which is true. You can see Buffy like thinking rationally here, which I appreciate. And then she's like, I don't think anyone's really safe because the initiative knows where we are.
Well, did you notice that Giles says, I still don't understand, Buffy, what happened that would make Maggie want to kill you? And Buffy kind of like pauses for a minute because, again, this reminds me of Innocence, where Giles asks Buffy what happened to cause Angel to turn. Because one of the catalysts for her trying to kill Buffy was Maggie saw Buffy and Riley having sex. Obviously, was also with Buffy, like asking questions and other things like that. But I'm just like, there's a couple of little parallels here that I've never caught before.
Buffy says that maybe she was asking too many questions. And then we have this like random jump to like Adam walking outside saying absolutely nothing. Good job for you, Adam.
Doing the most.
Yeah. Then
Walking
we jump back to Giles' house. Yeah. It's like, okay. And they're like, okay, we need to relocate because we don't know if we feel safe here. And then Giles was like, I'm not going to squat in a dark hole. Meaning like Xander's basement.
Wait, but wasn't he over there having like a fruit punch or something like a couple episodes ago? Like it seemed fine for him when he was hanging out with Xander just one-on-one.
There's a difference between hanging out and then like living in a high school or a teenager's basement that he was their librarian.
That is true, I guess. Giles like, I have one last scrap of dignity. Don't take this away from me.
Giles is like, the initiative isn't going to come in here. And then Riley pops in. I was like, all these, like, I feel like season 4, more than the other seasons, has this specific humor a lot, which is really funny. It's
where
like
people just break into Giles's house.
Yes. Or like he's just constantly just like irritated or put in uncomfortable situations. Like, I love this.
Giles needs a lock on his door.
I think they're so used to vampires, which like can't come during the day and also can't just enter your house. So to them, there's like a safety of like just chilling at Giles' house because they can't get in. And then it's like broad daylight and like Riley walks in, they're like, oh frick, like you can just come in.
One part about like television that just honestly gives me so much anxiety, and I know it's like a TV show or whatever, but like no one locks their door when they close it in shows. Like, especially sitcoms or anywhere, like anytime I watch Friends, they'll just be walking in and out and they'll close the door and everyone's in there. It's like 2 a.m. and you see people walking in and no one's locking it. It makes me so stressed. Or when they're like close it like in the middle of the night to like kicking everyone out, and then Monica will just walk out of her room. I'm like, lock the door. Like, oh, it just bugs me.
It's right up there for me with people hanging up without saying goodbye on TV shows. I was like, no,
yes. I know.
Goodbye. Like the other person's over there like, hello? Was our conversation done? Like, what's going on here?
Or like the little like weird sinister moments where they're like, oh no, everything's fine. And then they just hang up. Like, I would be calling back like 7 times in a row being like, are you good? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these things don't work in real life.
Are you mad at me? Are we okay? Or you just hung up? Yeah.
Buffy kind of tells Riley that she tried killing her. And then he's like not quite believing it, and then Riley sees Spike and is like, that's Hostel 17.
I forgot that he's supposed to be like hiding from them, and I think they all did too, and I think that's what makes this moment so funny. It's like he's just sitting on the stairs and like Riley's like intense, and he's like, wait a minute.
Well, and the Spike is like, what did I say last time I saw Riley? And he like tries to do the accent again, and he just gives up.
Well, it's funny too because James Marsters was originally, they were going to have Spike have a Texan accent when they first created the character.
They did not do that.
And so James Marsters doing this accent is kind of making fun of that original accent that they had. But also, this is really important because from here on out, like Riley starts to question everything. So he walks in, he's like, Buffy, what happened, to get her side of the story? She tells him Maggie tried to kill her, and he's having like a cognitive dissonance moment where it's like, okay, this isn't making sense with the Maggie that I know. He's not sure if he should believe Buffy. Then he looks over and sees Spike, who he's been told his entire life, like vampires, demons, bad. And he's going, wait a minute. should I trust you? And so this is adding like a little bit of doubt into his believing Buffy, and which it leads to him spiraling by the end of the episode.
Think it kind of threatens this idea of like his internalized metaphorical misogyny, but like in this world, like a demon, human, good, bad sort of mindset.
Right.
Which is kind of like the first seed into like Riley this episode. Riley's not the issue this episode. Like he did not like his character, but I mean like his interesting storyline. So like the way that they did Riley, I think was well done, other than the whole drugging thing. That part was like, huh? But I feel like they planted a lot of seeds. This is what happens when you don't focus on Buffy and you focus on someone else, and he's the sole purpose of the episode. Of course, his like building up is going to work out well, but like he's a side character. Like I need more Buffy.
I don't know that his buildup was that great. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, they built the seeds of his relationship with Maggie, his relationship with the Initiative. But apart from the Initiative, we don't know any of Riley's hopes and desires and dreams apart from his relationship with Buffy. The show, instead of building Riley as an individual character and as a person who has all these desires, they just created what we know of Riley around his relationship with Buffy. So when we get to this moment, we're supposed to be invested in Riley as a character and an individual apart from Buffy, and it doesn't work because they've just shoehorned him in a relationship with Buffy and said that's all he wants. That's all he wants in life. That's all he fears, instead of actually believably building us up to like Riley really hopes to one day settle down in Montana and have a, like something, but they didn't do any of that. And because of it, we're like, why do we care that this character's in pain apart from what he brings to the table with his relationship with Buffy,
For sure. I think I'm more just speaking of like when it comes to just the Initiative. Like obviously I want more depth out of Riley. I'm talking about like the episode and how they make him spiral works
Gotcha.
out.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah.
He like there's definitely aspects to Riley that like I would love to kind of like understand more. Do we really have time, and do I really want to give that time to Riley's character? Not really, but like in an ideal world, yes.
Yeah.
So like Spike leaves, and then like Riley's mad about Spike and has that internalized like struggle going on, and then Xander like stands up for Buffy and is like, hey, like wait, what did Xander say? I didn't actually write it down.
When I like it, he pretty much told Riley to back off and said like, hey, like she's the one who almost died because of your commander.
Oh yeah,
back off of her. Like, and I was like, yes, dude, like this is what I want to see is like people actually defending Buffy instead of jumping on to bag on her. Like I like that like Xander was quick to be like, dude, jump off. Like you're the one who's kind of the problem or bringing the problem here.
Well, and then like even in his conversation, like he's like definitely in like a delusional part in his stage of, trying to process, and is like, well, maybe like Walsh was being controlled. Like he's like, giving all these excuses, which he's I feel like denial. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Which makes sense. Not that like, I don't know. It's tricky because it's like, it is a big accusation for them to throw on him, especially when he idolizes Walsh. Oof, it's a rough situation because it's like you obviously from our perspective we believe Buffy, but it's like from his perspective this is a very tricky situation. Like my girlfriend's saying that Walsh like tried killing her, and I want to believe her, but like he's been looking up to her. She's also like his higher up, so that's very complicated.
He's asking the right questions, and he should be like not totally believing any one person. He should be like getting answers from all sides. The problem is Riley, like Leah has mentioned before, has not been taught to think. Yeah. And so in his mind, it's always been just blindly obey. And so he doesn't know how to ask questions and think and believe anything other than what's been fed to him. So he's freaking out right now because he doesn't know how to question.
Yeah. Well, and then Buffy, who is the OG questioner, asks him about like 314. Right. And then he's like mentally spiraling and then just dips.
Yeah, because he knows 314 exists.
Yeah. Well, and then he's like never really thought about it until Buffy mentions it to him last episode.
Free thinker right here.
Yeah, for real. And then we jump to the woods, that poor baby boy with a robot toy. And then we conclude that he probably, we find out later, he does kill the sweet little baby.
Yeah, based off of Frankenstein's monster, the whole operant conditioning thing. He is what he is told he is, because he says, "What am I?" And the
And
boy
he
says,
says a
"You're a
monster.
monster."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boy doesn't even seem scared. I'm like, this is such a Sunnydale boy. Like, oh, I see you guys around all the time. You're just
I've
a
been raised
monster.
on the Hellmouth. I've seen worse in my days.
And then you see Riley sulking, brooding, and walking around at campus at night. And there's a difference between the two. I'm like, can I have Angel's brooding again? I don't want to see him walking around sulking.
You know what the difference is, Tabby? The difference is we care.
True. That's
Brooding
true.
versus sulking. Do we care?
That's so true.
To make this worse, the song that's playing in this moment is actually Buffy and Riley's theme song. So
I swear to God, I've never noticed their. I didn't even know they had one. I could not tell you what it sounds like.
I think I'm gonna next time I will play it so that everyone actually like knows. And when you hear it, you'll be like, "Oh,
it just sounds like background music. Like it's not distinguishable."
Yeah.
Well, it is somewhat distinctive, but we haven't had like, with Buffy and Angel, like that defining moment in becoming, like we all know exactly what it sounds like. Yeah.
But they also played it like a ton in season 2. Like every time they were together, theme. So we like really had time to like memorize it.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times where they haven't played it here and they played the stupid guitar music while they're like sparring. I'm like, play their theme. What is going on here?
They don't care as much. They forget. The editor's like, oh shoot, I should be playing this.
Their editor doesn't even care about their relationship.
He has the tape like Adam does on his chest, and he's like, shoot, takes out the one for like Riley and Buffy, sticks it in.
Oh, please don't bring me to the tape part. I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
Oh, guys, it's not even a tape. That's a floppy disk.
I'm not ready to talk about that yet because I have so many thoughts. So
okay, all right. We'll shelve that. We'll put that tape in when we get to it. That floppy disk.
I was dying. Oh my gosh.
Never put technology in your show if you are not willing to see how badly it ages 15, 20 years down the line, man.
Same that makes me cringe, and then modern lingo that people put in TV shows really or movies make me really cringe.
Like especially if it's a period drama and they're like, saying things that you would say.
Just normally. Call out the specific movie you're thinking of, Sarah.
Oh, wait, what movie? Persuasion? Oh,
did I tell you the things that were said in that movie? Oh my gosh! Dude, at one point, she goes, "He's a 10. I never trust a 10."
Oh, that. Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry. You can do it with some, but Persuasion, the tone of it,
not Jane Austen. Not Jane Austen.
Emma, you could kind of maybe get away with
no
it,
modern lingo.
Persuasion.
No modern lingo. Like you can make things modern in a certain way, but not the lingo because it's supposed to be in like what the 1800s. Like it doesn't work or 1900s. Easily. Yeah.
Persuasion. That book is amazing. If you saw the movie, I'm so sorry. Go pick up a book.
I did,
my favorite Jane Austen work of all time.
I wanted to see it through, and I deeply regret it because now I'm like, oh, like I just can't.
The book is amazing. The movie, I refuse to watch it.
No, Sarah, you would get angry.
Yeah, I would. I got angry at the trailer. I watched this. I was like, what is this trash? I take literal works very seriously, hence my Buffy podcast.
Anyway, in 314, there's a carcass on the floor.
Lovely transition. Well done.
What I don't understand is, yes, I know she died, but also like, why aren't they still supposed to be hiding this room? Like, why is everyone just allowed in it now?
It's the same scientist dude.
Yeah, Dr. Engelman was in the last episode in this room. Him and Maggie Walsh were the only ones that knew about it.
No, I know, but I'm saying like all the cadets and everything are standing right there.
Well, what ends up happening is they don't tell everyone that 314, like the monsters escaped. They say, oh, the Pulgera demon escaped because she got stabbed with the same weapon that the Pulgera demon had. So they think that this was just where they were keeping the Pulgera demon for testing. They don't know that like Frankenstein's monster was in their Adam. But yes, excellent question, Leah. How very Buffy of you, and unlike Riley, to ask all these excellent questions of the episode.
3 excellent questions.
I quote that all the time now.
And then we go into the basement and John, oh my gosh, Anthony Stewart had his humor comedy this season has been top notch. Like he's like lying on the floor on like this beanbag. And
Oh,
he
it's
looks
a
so
blow-up chair. The ones that
uncomfortable.
squeak every time you move.
Oh my gosh, he looks miserable.
The writers were literally like, how can we make Giles as out of his element and as uncomfortable as possible for this entire season? Okay, we're just going to do that all season long.
Oh, then the girls are watching Roadrunner. Buffy was how we were watching the Roadrunner growing up. She's like, that would never happen. Like, I know it's supposed to be like entertaining to watch, but I would get so mad because I would just get anxious. I'm like, can you just catch the freaking Roadrunner? I hated him so much. He was such a bully.
Okay, so you guys are gonna hate me for this. I'm so sorry, but there's a reason why this this cartoon is in this episode. So there's a couple observations.
It can't just be a casual cartoon.
I mean, I cannot tell you. We can move on, but I know I'm going to get like a ton of DMs from people being like, tell me. All right. So first and foremost, the white and orange shirt that Anya's wearing to sleep is the same one that Xander wore in Something Blue, which I just thought was so cute. Speaking of 3 excellent questions. All right. So it is rare that something is put into the Buffyverse without a deeper meaning behind it. And first and foremost, Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner are a WB cartoon, which is probably why it was chosen because Buffy aired on the WB at this point. But Wikipedia talks about how the Coyote uses all sorts of tricks and fancy weaponry to capture the Roadrunner, but is never successful due to him not embracing or using his animal instincts. And I thought that was a nice parallel to the Initiative using gadgets, but not being as successful as Buffy due to the lack of fundamentally understanding why demons do the things that they do. It goes against instinct, as naturally humans, we tend to we want to know why. Why do things work? Why do people do what they do? Why do animals, we assign human characteristics to animals often in an attempt to understand why they do what they do. And the Initiative, not even questioning and wanting to figure out why demons do what they do, goes against instinct. And Wile E. Coyote's Acme technology, it backfires on him constantly. And so Buffy's saying, oh, that would never happen. Like Gregory Stevenson, he's an author of Televised Morality. He claims that the irony is it does later happen. The Initiative actually embracing technology unfettered by moral guidance ultimately causes its own destruction in creating Adam. So it's very interesting. And I know you guys are like absolutely like holding the edge of your seats, so gripped, so interested in this.
I love
Is that
Wile E. Coyote.
analysis?
Oh, thank you, Leah. Thank you. What'd you say, Tabby?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought so.
No, it has nothing to do with you. I just like for when you first started talking about it and you said Wile E. Coyote, I literally thought you were gonna be like Wiley, Riley. It was here for
Riley Coyote.
I literally thought you were gonna do that. I was like, Sarah,
that's so good. Riley Coyote. It writes itself, man. That's hilarious. I'm putting that in my essays on Instagram. Riley Coyote. Thanks, Tabby.
Giles comes in as annoyed as can be and turns off the TV. And I love how none of them argue with him about it. I'd be like, hey, we're watching something.
He's like, my head is splitting. And Will is like, wow, you're cranky. And he's like, yes, can't imagine why I didn't sleep well in my beach ball. While they all had the bed.
I don't know why like Giles wouldn't bring like blankets and like nicer stuff from his house. It's not like they have to only use Xander's supplies.
Go to the store and get a blow-up bed. Something would be better than that. Yeah. Anyway.
I can't wait till they give more to Anya's character because all she has been the past few episodes is literally just like jealous girlfriend and or clingy and or thirsting over Xander. And I'm like, I'm getting a little bored of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I like Anya, but that's also because I've seen the whole series. But I'm just saying that like, I don't know. I just don't really like the direction they're just not doing anything with her character right now.
And like you mentioned before, Taps, that kind of seems to be on par for what they do with significant others. They did the same with Cordelia. Yeah. They pretty much did the same with Jenny until the very last minute. Everybody's significant others don't have much going on apart from
except for Riley this episode, apparently.
Yeah, they decided to dump all of it into one episode, and we're like, whoa, why should I care? This moment is really cool though. Giles' tattoo from Igon is actually visible on his arm, which I thought was
I never noticed that.
Continuity thing here. They're not always great at continuity, but sometimes
they really are not. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anya's like, Buffy, you should get a boring boyfriend, especially since the whole angel thing happened.
But you can't have Xander.
Yeah, but you can't have Xander. Buffy's like, I'll try to keep that in mind. I just love that Buffy doesn't make people feel like stupid or whatever. She just kind of like makes like a funny comment and then just like moves on. Like she doesn't really like linger in pettiness, which I love about her. And then the episodes where she like is fully petty, I live for, because we never get to see like petty Buffy. And most of the time it's like she's like being like her soul's
overly
being sucked out of her from Kathy. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I guess she just didn't want to go back to her family. I understand that. We're like, Buffy. I do like the little bonding moment that Buffy and Anya have here. Like Buffy says, I'm already at the I hurt when he hurts, I smile when he smiles stage. And Anya's like, oh, I hate that part. And I'm like, aw.
But also, I call BS. I know Buffy likes him, but also, like, I fully believe that if they were to break up at this point, Buffy would be, like, heartbroken for an episode and move on.
I think there's a difference because, like, when you really care for somebody, like, I could feel that with somebody I'm friends with. Like, those are interchangeable emotions. I don't know if she's really in love with Riley, you know what I mean? Based on that interpretation. Like,
right.
If someone I know is hurting, like, I'm gonna be, like, you know, sad and hurting with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And given the fact that, like, Doomed was what, like 3-4 episodes ago, where she basically had to be like manipulated, bullied, and coerced into a relationship with Riley. I'm like, I don't know. I know. I'm very proud of myself for using those 3 words. But they're accurate.
3 observations.
3 excellent observations. Thank you, Tabby. But, you know, like, I don't know that I buy that she's fully invested in him, but yeah, who knows? Time will tell.
I think that she thinks that she is.
Okay.
They don't know that we know that they know that we know that we.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thing is, the show, it doesn't matter because Buffy could be fully invested, but the show has not done a great job of showing us that she is. So at this point, it doesn't matter whether she is or not because we don't believe it. We don't buy it. And you have to convince us.
Yeah. So Xander runs in and is like, turn on the news. And then they turn on the news and they're talking about the boy that died out in like the woods. Buffy's mad. Of course, she thinks it's her fault. She takes everything on herself. She stands and gives orders. And then there's a pause and she goes, that probably would have sounded more commanding if I wasn't wearing my yummy sushi pajamas.
Those sushi pajamas are actually like so many people want them. They're super popular and they're like thousands of dollars apparently. Like they're really, really expensive.
Oh, dang.
Crazy. I know.
Shh, don't tell Leah what I got her for Christmas.
Oh, okay. Next year? Christmas next year?
So back in Riley's dorm, Forrest makes a joke about them having sex, yada yada. Get out of here, Forrest.
Forrest, why are you obsessed with their sex life here? And all of a sudden he's like all gung-ho about Riley and Buffy being close when he was like angry that they were. Like he flip-flops. He's whatever the writers want him to be in this situation. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, I cannot stand him. So they go into Riley's room and then Riley kind of confides in him about what he heard about Walsh. And then Forrest is like, well, she tends to get on people's bedside. Oh my gosh. Like 1 second you're like, yeah, bone her. Another second you're like, she's annoying.
I know.
Like she deserves to die.
I'd be questioning and confused too if I had Forrest as a friend. I'd be like, what do you want, man? What do you want?
Forrest is just so annoying. I literally can't stand him. Oh my gosh. Okay, so they argue, and then he says Walsh probably thought she was doing something wrong, yada, yada, yada.
This guy's mood changes like a light switch. He's like, well, now that you mentioned it, I absolutely hate Buffy.
The biggest anger issues. For real. If at the end of this arguing he said, actually, I'm in love with Buffy, I think I would actually believe him. I'm like, okay, like, at least we're getting somewhere because this whiplash makes no sense.
Forrest is like, I actually wanted her for myself.
Either you're in love with Buffy or you're in love with Riley. Like, this flip-flop does not make any sense to me.
I do appreciate that Riley like stands up for Buffy and is like, why does it bug you so much that I'm hanging with her? He's like, is it because she's a better soldier than you? I was like, oh snap, go for his butt.
For real. He's like, are you pulling rank?
It's because Riley's taking him away from him.
Yeah. Riley's taking himself away from Forrest.
And then I love how they give this scene to Graham to come in to tell that she's dead because he barely says anything anyway. So having him just walk in all solemn is just Graham being Graham. So they don't even see anything different when he walks in.
They always give Graham like the bad news to come in and like break up an argument.
He has the deadpan down. Tells him the Walsh is dead. You can see the wires in Riley's head ticking.
I mean, at this point, Buffy really does kind of look sus, you know?
For sure. And then in the initiative, they go to see the body. And two, I don't know the actor's name. I feel so bad. The actor's name of Forrest. I'm sure you're a good dude. I really hate your character. But his acting job when he saw Walsh on the floor, he did a really stellar job. If you notice him, like he turns away as if he looks like he's gonna vomit in such a believable way. Like he did a really good job. So props to you.
And he's like, look at that wound. She's been staked, wouldn't you say, brother? And I was like, wow, jumping to conclusions, wouldn't you say, Forrest? Like,
but I think since things do kind of look sus, though, especially if like Walsh is dead right after they say that Buffy accused Walsh of killing her, it does kind of look that way. So this, like, don't get me wrong, I don't like Forrest, but I think him saying that kind of makes sense from what they were just talking
be
about.
Be reasonable, Tabby. No, don't be reasonable, actually. Follow me down in this pit of hatred.
No, I don't like Forrest. And the things that he said in the argument a scene ago make me really mad, but I think it's different when you see the type of wound it is. Like, I would spiral to that too if I were him, you know?
I agree. I totally agree. I think that they did a really good job of planting reasonable doubt for Riley and kind of building him up. Because genuinely, if you're in his shoes, you don't know what to think. It's just frustrating that once again, Forrest is the voice of Riley's inner monologue. Like, Riley's probably already questioning these things, and they had to have Forrest say it out loud to make Riley not look as bad.
Yeah, of course. Again, Forrest has to be like the complete misogynistic douchebag that like to make Riley look better, you know?
Yeah.
He says that Buffy has blinded him, and then they like are, you know, sizing themselves up about to fight. And then Dr. whatever his name is, Anklefoot. Yeah.
Which I mean, I don't like Forrest, but I will say the timing of it would look sus. Like if Riley had just told him like, oh, Professor Walsh and Buffy like are kind of at odds, and then Buffy thinks that Professor Walsh tried to kill her, and then Professor Walsh dies, I'd be like, Buffy killed her. Like, if I didn't know Buffy and I knew how strong Buffy was, that's where my mind would go as well. So I don't necessarily completely fault him for that being where his mind goes.
Yeah, again, and I mean, we're broken records at this point, but it is frustrating. Like, Forrest wanted to go out with Buffy when she was just another mattressable college co-ed. He found her tiresome when she was all his buddy Riley could talk about. So when she turns out to be this like incredibly like skilled warrior with a mind of her own, questioning everything and putting herself at odds with Dr. Walsh, he calls her a supernatural freak and questions her loyalties. So again, he is the voice of the initiative and stuff like that, and he's just supposed to be the physical and verbal representation of all that. But it's frustrating because it's a person of color.
I know they keep like shorthanding all of these like POC characters. Like either they're not fleshed out enough, they died too early, or they're just Forrest. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah. And I do want to give him a little bit of grace because Forrest probably has been subjected to Walsh's programming and all that stuff as well. Like, we know he's been drugged. We know that he's probably been like raised similarly. I don't think as intensely as Riley, because Riley was very obviously the favorite. But I mean, even him saying brother to Riley, like there's a very common like family theme that runs through here because of what happens with Adam at the very end of the episode.
Or cult.
Yeah, cultish. Yes. And that's what like the military kind of does is it creates this family, like we're brothers. We've been through something tragic together. It bonds you, but it makes it really hard for you to walk away from all of that, even if it is toxic. And so it builds loyalties, good or bad, you know, and it's often manipulated and used against people.
So after the scientist breaks them up, Riley says that he thinks it's the demon from last week that they were trying to catch. And then the scientist says there's nothing they can do. And then as soon as he leaves, he's like, hey, I'm still like in charge, talks to the recruits in the hall and is like, we're going to go and get the demon.
From here on out, you'll notice that Riley starts to scratch his hand because we notice like it gets all like scratched up by the end of the episode. And the script intentionally says, start having Riley scratching his hand here. And you'll notice throughout the rest of the episode, it's like a tick until we realize that he's going through a drug withdrawal.
So we see them in broad daylight go into the graveyard of all places. As if the demon would just be wandering around when the sun's still beaming. And Forrest and Graham go into Spike's crypt. They're like, oh, someone's in here. They touch the TV. It's warm. And then they open up the tomb and then see a skeleton. I love how like Spike just isn't like he doesn't care to like take out like the bones that are just sitting
He
in
hides
his crypt.
underneath it.
Yeah. And then they like walk out, and then Forrest, in his fit of rage, just breaks the TV for literally no reason. Like,
And he's
okay,
like,
Forrest.
animals, as he like ragefully just like tears things apart. You're like, who's the actual animal here, Forrest?
For real, he scares me. If you were an actual person, I'd be like, never come near me. Leave me alone.
Also, looks like this is another way in which the show is also subtly pushing Spike together with the Scoobies, because now in order to get a TV, Spike's going to have to earn money from Giles again. So like they continually are pushing them together.
And the outside hills that look like they're in the Mojave Desert out in California where we live.
Lancaster.
For real, looks like it's like out here. Or like maybe like in Acton.
In my notes, I wrote Buffy dressed like Dr. Ellie Sattler, getting ready to go dig up some dinosaur bones.
I loved her fit. It was so cute.
Fit. I think it's a good elevated, like older look, because we know that in the later seasons they try and specifically Sarah Michelle Gellar. Oh my gosh, the list.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Sarah Michelle Gellar wanted to wear more jeans and stuff because it would get really cold on set and all that
and
stuff.
She had
so
bruises.
I think that and she had bruises, valid. But it's like I like that this is it's like a jean look, but it's still very Buffy. It's very cute and it's very like
so cute.
It's just so cute. However, why the frick are they at the crime scene? Why is she allowed so close to a literal dead child? The cops should be telling them to go away, especially Riley, who comes in literally combat gear. How is he allowed there? How?
Because he's military, and it's the initiative that's picking up the body and all that stuff, because they're trying to cover up.
The initiative isn't taking care of the little boy's body. They already broadcast that. It was on the news.
That's what I'm saying. The timing doesn't make any sense. It's the regular police.
Well, that's what they want you to believe, but I'm fairly certain the initiative is going to go and cover up, because they like Dr. Engelman and such. They know, like they talked about how like the military was coming in to take over the crime scene. They like Dr. Engelman mentions that in the scene before. He's like, they want none of us to like, they want to shut it down. They basically want to like do an internal investigation, which means they're also going to take care of this boy's body as well.
Are we sure this is not like another casualty? Because it like was broadcasted that morning, and this looks like it's like midday.
No,
like,
this is the little boy. This is the script says.
But why would they broadcast it and then just leave the child there for like hours? Like the timing doesn't make any sense.
No, this is not how things would actually work. Like they would take care of the boy's body first, and then
that's what I'm saying. Like it makes no sense.
Right.
Like when I watched this episode, if you guys didn't say that, I would have for sure thought this was another casualty. Like absolutely. Yeah. Like in the middle of the episode, we're gonna go and take care of the baby's body. Like that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Buffy sees the gurney, and then Buffy turns around, sees Riley, and then she tries apologizing to him. And then Riley is like, Walsh is dead, and says, happy now.
Mm-hmm.
Fun. Mm-hmm. And then you could definitely tell like his like civilian Riley is gone for the moment. He's soldier Riley.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like very pissed off and then very calloused. Buffy says that she'll find the demon, she'll kill it, and she's angry and says that, and she says, like, then you could stop asking me if I'm happy with all of this death.
Get him, girl. Get him. Yeah, and again, planting more seeds of doubt, because he's over there, like, almost convinced that she's the one that did it, and then she's over there like, hey, the Polgara demon, which, like, again, he keeps, like, teetering back and forth because he sees that it could be a Polgara demon, and there's good evidence for it,
And then Tara, we haven't seen her, or I feel like we haven't seen her in a while. We probably saw her last episode, but she's like so like sparse in these episodes that I'm like, oh yay, we get to see her.
It's a breath of fresh air of like just this like sweet feminine energy versus like all of
just like calmness
stuff.
Sunshine. Like every scene with her, you're just like, Tara. Like she's just like smiley and happy, and I
want to go hang out in her room. I know.
It looks so inviting.
Yeah,
it's so cozy.
Seriously. Okay, and this scene was like I think there's a lot of innuendo in this scene.
I like the spell we did last time. I kept thinking about it. I'm like, okay.
Really?
I'm not here just to do spells. I'm like, okay. A whole lot of subtext here. I wrote, Tara must be good at spells.
But also like the fact that not Buffy, the fact that Willow had to sit there and be like it's not just the spells. I like hanging out with you. It's such a classic thing to say other than the spells.
Mhm.
Classic thing to say when you're like hooking up with somebody to be like, it's not just like your body that I like. It's like, I like hanging out with you. You know what I mean?
I've been thinking about that last spell we did all day. And then like
Yeah.
the way that Allison Hannigan conveys the lines is so breathy. She's like, this one should be fun too. We conjure. Like it's all like breathy versus like, hey, we'll conjure the goddess Thespia. It's like very like sexy and alluring. And you're like, what in the world?
I mean, to be fair, like Allison Hannigan does portray Willow in that aspect too. So it's not like so much to the point where you're like in on it super quickly.
Sure.
But like they could, if someone were to like hold a candle to this, they could deny it if they needed to. But there's a lot. There's a lot of like, okay, what's going on here?
It just escalates to is that at first you're like, wait, is this? And then like the next thing they say, you're like, oh wait, and then it goes on. And you're like, okay,
you're like, I can't deny
it. Can't
it.
be anything else, but
yeah. Well, and then Willow's like, okay, like I need to do a spell with you again to find demon energy. And then we jump back into the demon bar. We haven't been here in a while.
Willie, yeah, it's been since amends, which is crazy, a whole year.
Willie is like rolling his eyes. He's like, of course. And then Buffy walks in, a vamp sees her, and then just scoots out silently. I love that. She asked about like the I forget what the demon's name that they're trying to find.
Polgara. Oh, yeah, she's looking for the Polgara, but doesn't realize that it's Adam at this point.
Willie says that he can't look like he's dealing with her. And then she's like, okay, fine, I'll punch you. And then she punches him. And I love how like she punches him and he didn't really have anything to say anyway. I'm like, you could have just said that. Like it took 2 seconds. I don't know.
He's trying to save his bar. He doesn't want the clientele to think that he's dealing with the Slayer willingly.
Well, I think it's interesting because this whole interaction, like Buffy is like prime example of like think smarter, not harder. Like she's not going in killing every single demon she sees, blah 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 blah. Like she's just focusing on the ones that are an actual threat. Buffy also has the knowledge and experience to know that not every demon is evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like some are just kind of biding their own time. Like they're just kind of chilling, you know?
Yep.
And why waste all your time and energy killing all those ones when you can go and find the ones that are actually going to murder or end the world? And so it's like, it's really showing the difference between Buffy's like kind of experience and Riley's book training. Like his book training is kill every demon you ever see ever because that's your job. Whereas Buffy's is take care of the actual threats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like what we talked about, like understanding motivation and stuff will actually help you be better at your job instead of just mindlessly killing.
Mm-hmm. As you guys were saying that, I was like, my mind was spiraling. I'm like, what if they did a Buffy reboot? Not with Buffy, but maybe another like Slayer. And then like, it would be cool to kind of tackle like, because I kept thinking about like, why wouldn't Buffy come in here and just like massacre everyone? But I'm like, because like she has to like, you know, hold on to her humanity. But like, would that be such an interesting storyline where it's like half a season, the Slayer is like struggling with like the evil part of her, and they really went there where she just enjoyed and would seek out just like a like these like holes of like or bars or whatever with a ton of demons and vamps and would just like massacre them. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Buffy truly abuse her power at this point. Like we've seen bits of it in Bad Girls.
Yeah, I was about to say we've seen like in some episodes like a hinge of it, but like we haven't seen that from Buffy. That'd be really like jarring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. But it's also a gray area because it's like they're all demons and vampires, but it's like at the sake of your own self, though. You know?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Could you live with that, knowing that they technically haven't done anything?
Oh, yeah. And then Riley comes in and he's not looking so good. And he's like picking a fight and saying that she's socializing with them. Like you can see him being like, what is reality? As Kate Hudson said in Glass Onion.
Glass Onion. Oh, she was amazing in that.
What is reality?
I will say there are some subtle parallels to this episode in Amends when Angel was at kind of like his breaking point. That's the last time we were at Willie's. Buffy came to Willie's for information to find out what was tormenting Angel. And in this one, she's kind of trying to figure out about the initiative. So it's just kind of like, I don't know if it's intentional or not. I don't know if the writers just kind of like end up recycling some of the same storylines and stuff, but it just kind of reminds me of that.
Riley asks like, what Buffy is, which is kind of like, that'd be very like hurtful to Buffy because she's like, I thought I've been like showing you, but it's also him kind of questioning what reality actually
Mhm.
is in that moment.
Yes, that is exactly right, Tabs. We hear this phrase used a lot in this episode. And you know who the other person is that asks, who are you or who am I, is Adam. So parallels between Riley and Adam in this one. And I think it's basically the tagline of this season. It's identity. So who are you? Who are these people? And Buffy needs to figure out her identity as she's like, it's interesting because Buffy has been trying to figure out, like, she's embraced being a Slayer, right? But she hasn't really embraced, like, she's trying to figure out how she can marry her Slayer life with her human life. And so this season was her figuring out her identity as a human and trying to be a part of initiative in an effort to be more normal. And this episode is very clearly showing Buffy starting to break away from that and realizing that, no, I don't think the initiative is where I need to be. And so, like, Buffy's trying to figure stuff out. Riley's trying to figure stuff out. Adam, who are all these people, you know? And I think the next episode is Who Are You? I think is the name of the episode too, which is really interesting. It's either This Year's Girl or Who Are You?
Identity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just feel like a lot of these themes in season 4 are just so obvious. I prefer a lot more like oh my gosh, we'll get to the whole obvious parallels between Adam and Riley in the last scene that I'm like rolling my eyes, literally rolling my eyes to my back of my
Guys,
head.
do not bring. I literally have so much to talk about in that last scene.
Okay, all right.
I'm holding it back.
Leah's like sitting here like not talking at all because if she does, she'll just explode.
There's just so much to say in that last scene. Not last, but like the last important scene.
Yeah.
So Riley pulls out a gun at the girl and is like, if I shoot her, nothing will really matter. He's growing delusional, and Buffy's like trying to snap him out of it. He can't tell anymore what's real or not.
This was the most interesting scene to me in the whole
Mhm.
episode. Just because I think that it's cool seeing Riley slip. I think it's cool seeing him, question things. I mean, you guys have been talking about it, but just like the fact that he's like really sitting there and being like, am I going to have a guilty conscience if I kill this person? Like, is this a person? Is it a human being? Do I care about killing human beings? Like, it's just like one of those things where it's very interesting. And it was one of the parts in the episode where I was like, wow, Riley's an intriguing character right now.
Mhm.
And I haven't really felt that at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's human. He just harbors a demon, which makes him a good guy. Like, what's good? What's bad? I was told all demons are bad. All humans are, well, somewhat good, like have souls. And he's like questioning all of this. The script, I will say, because like he grabs Buffy and kind of like manhandles her for a minute. And he says, the truth, Buffy, now in the script says, Buffy also hardens. She doesn't put up with this crap, not from anybody. And I was like, yeah, Buffy, don't let him.
I know, I love that because it's like they're like supposed to be in love in their honeymoon phase, and like they could have had the female character in this scenario be manhandled and like recoiled and been scared, even though like they have superpowers, or not superpowers, but they have strength or whatever. It's like, this is still like somebody in the military. This is somebody that like has like a lot of strength as well, and someone that you love, but she doesn't do that. She's never done that. Even with like Angel, like up on the roof, not the roof, the hilltop, it's like she's desperate in that moment for sure, and they like hit each other, but she fights back. But she's also like tender in that moment where he is like not. It's hard because we've talked about it. It's very nuanced because it's supposed to be like they're like punching or whatever is supposed to be like metaphorical. But when he's like holding her and says like, am I a man worth saving? That's supposed to be more of like her like letting go and showing him softness in order to like rail him back in. So it's a little bit different. It's not like her being weak.
That moment is also like, we talk a ton about how Buffy is Angel's metaphorical like journey and how she's the spark that gets him going. And so when he's fighting her in that moment, it's a physical representation or a metaphorical representation of Angel
himself.
Wrestling with his identity, his future, and his mission. He's going, give me a purpose to his mission. And his mission speaks back and says, I care. And it's all very metaphorical. So there's a reason for it. It's not just like, even though I don't condone violence in, like a relationship. It's different because it's a vampire and a slayer. She's always
No,
stronger
for
than
sure.
him. And yeah.
For sure. I'm just saying that like in that moment, Buffy was soft and recoiled and cried because that's what she needed in order to like snap him out of his like delusion in a different way. But him just kind of like not wanting to be here anymore. Like that's what he needed, is a softness to be like, I need you here. I want you to fight. Like I have to fight every day, Whereas in this moment, it's like that's not the same thing that's happening here. Like
No,
Buffy's
she
like, you can't touch me like that.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Totally.
difference between the two,
Yep.
So Riley kind of like stops, takes on the gun, the girl runs out. And then we jump back into the basement. She puts a blanket over him and he just like takes it off.
Severe case of the man cold right now. No, just kidding. I honestly felt like Mark Blucas, like hats off. I know we've criticized his acting, but this was phenomenal. The way that he says, what's happening to me, he's breaking down. Like we're watching the physical and the mental and the emotional breakdown. And it was really, really well done. It made me almost care. Just kidding. I care.
I don't think it's his fault. He was a newer actor in the beginning, so I think he was just trying to find his groove. But I don't think he's a bad actor by any means. But he did a stellar job in this episode.
Also, the writing, the writing
for sure. Like I think it just was like a he was given the best.
Yeah. Passion the Nerd had a really, really interesting observation for this scene, and then later on at the very end. But he says, Riley wasn't just drugged by Maggie. He was psychologically manipulated to depend on her and be almost codependent in his relationship with her. Now that he's lost her, who's he now leaning on? Another woman. And this moment can come across as creepy and possibly not as healthy. Like I know it can be healthy, like he's relying, like you need each other in these moments, but it is kind of interesting that like he's going from one woman to the next. And so like it's not necessarily bad now, but how we move forward from here could tell a lot about like how emotionally stable and healthy Riley is,
It's just funny that this like soldier masculine man, and this is just like so, perfect for how reality actually is, and then they get sick and then they're just like, take care of me.
The man cold is real, y'all.
I will say though, he looks bad. He looks like the makeup department did a good job, because every time I look at Riley, I'm like, oh my, go get some medicine. Like, dang.
Oiled him up with some petroleum jelly. They're like, gotta look sweaty.
And then he's like scratching his hand like raw. Yeah, it looks bad. She takes off her headband or her bandana. I'm like, no. It was so cute.
Their theme plays again right here, in case
I could not tell you what it sounds like still. Sorry. And then like binds it to his hand, which doesn't really make sense because it's like, it's not an actual bandana. It has like the little like strings on the side. It has like one like triangle shape.
Yeah.
That just covers the top layer, and then that's it. Yeah.
It's there for the last shot. That's what it is.
Yeah. I know it's supposed to be metaphorical, whatever. He says he doesn't know anything. He asks if he's the bad guy. He's just like shaking. Poor guy does not look good. And then she tells him to lie down. He lies down. And then, of course, we need Xander again because of his soldier freaking training.
Okay, yeah, that's annoying. But I will say I really appreciate this because I think this is the first time Buffy's asked for Xander's help this season.
They haven't had a lot of one-on-ones.
Freshmen. Yes, yeah. And you know what? Xander needs this because he's feeling useless, just like Giles. Yeah. So this was kind of like his moment. And you know what? I can't believe I'm saying this. I missed their dynamic. It was really fun. It was so good.
It's because both of them are normal. Like usually like it would be like him cracking jokes about sex before he had like a girlfriend that he was having sex with, I should say. So like he just was like chill Xander, which is my preferred Xander.
I liked it though. Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, for sure. We go back into Tara's room. Then they're going to call on Thespia, and you can see Tara's eyes being like, Thespia, I didn't
sign up for this.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Sign up for this, yeah. They start doing the spell. She hands both of them like herbs or whatever that is, and then they blow the herbs at the very end, and then Tara puts it into a trash can while Will's eyes are closed. Wonder what that's for.
the spell doesn't work because she sabotages it. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. We don't deal with that this episode. Are we going to talk about this? Like,
I know.
What's going on?
You're like, they just go to the next scene. You're like, wait a minute.
You're like, wait, what's going on? That's kind of a big thing. Also, this is incredibly useful. So you're telling me that Willow could do this for Buffy in order to find every vampire in Sunnydale? Dude.
Yeah, what are the actual rules of like the witchcraft? Like, have we really actually sat down and be like, what can Willow do here? It just sounds like
Also,
episode.
How does Willow keep finding these spells? Like, she just comes to Tara and she's like, oh my gosh, Tara, like, I literally just found this spell where you raise people from the dead. And Tara's just like, okay, like, where is she just finding, like, online? Like, I'm so confused.
Well, I mean, there are these things called grimoires, and there are magic shops, you know, aka like sex shops where they're doing different spells. You could find, there's things that, like, you know, people write down stuff. I'm sure she's probably like researching it, but yes, that very valid point.
In the initiative dorm area, whatever that is, Buffy looks like a freaking librarian. I'm like, what is okay?
So cute.
You've been
so
here before,
cute.
though. Like, people know what you look like. Make yourself look a little bit more. I don't know. Whatever.
It's the Marvel
people,
the Marvel
so
costume, or no, I should say it's the superhero costume. Put on
the
glasses,
Superman.
And no one
Superman
will know it's you.
Yeah.
Put your hair up, become all of a sudden it's the 90s or like the 2000s 90s thing of put your hair up and put glasses on, and all of a sudden you're not hot anymore. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Glasses don't make you hot or not hot.
The scene where like Xander's like, quickly, let's make out. And then Buffy's like, what are you doing? Made me actually cackle because it's like that would be my thought is like, oh my gosh, like let's do something. What did the movie show us? And then like Buffy's like, Xander, like you're literally a military man and I'm a scientist. Like us making out in the hallway is gonna be way more confusing than anything.
She's like, people here don't make out. And he's like, oh.
She goes, this is the initiative, Xander. Scientists and military guys don't make out with each other. And he's like, well, hey, maybe that's what's wrong with the world. Ever think about that? Yeah, this whole dynamic was so good. I cracked up when like he's like, hey Buffy, why are you checking yourself out in the mirror? Like what's going on? And how she's like, oh my gosh, if my card has been revoked and we're not able to get into this elevator, which I was like, Hush established that there's stairs. Like you could take stairs down there.
Oh my gosh, the plot holes in this episode.
It's
also
pretty bad.
Am I like, did I miss it? But like, where did Buffy's lab coat come from? Because she walked in through the elevator.
She was holding it.
Yeah, she put it on.
I did not see it.
Because I was wondering, what is she holding?
Also, again, with the penis metaphor, they walk into the initiative, just like with Buffy and Riley. Xander's like, whoa, can I have sex with Riley too? Like, it just, they keep.
Oh my gosh, I just can't. Back in the basement, Will says the spell failed, and she's like a little bit confused. Do they think just Willow's doing all these spells by herself? Like, when they just like look up being like, hey, there needs to be another person for this. Willow, who's your other person doing this spell? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, Giles would know that certain spells, because he's done them before, that certain spells would need another person, right?
I don't get the sense that Giles is like as deep into magic as Willow is now. I think there are certain things he's done. He dabbled, but I don't think he was like a full.
But I feel like he would know that, like, if you have to call on like the god of Thespia, you'd probably need like a person that grounds you, you know?
I think everyone is like far too concerned with other things right now to even like think about it.
I don't know. Season 3 Giles would know. Riley's up and he's antsy. He scares Willow when she pulls like
scares me.
I was like, oh, jump scare. They said that Buffy went to the initiative, and he starts like panicking. He pushes Willow and then he leaves.
Gasp. How dare you?
Stop manhandling the woman.
I know. Come on, Riley. Your misogyny is showing. Giles coming to Willow's defense. We love to see it.
Back at the initiative, they hear two scientists talking conveniently right next to them about how all the soldiers are being drugged, and then they
through their food in the cafeteria that everybody else eats at. What is going on here?
I don't understand. And they said they can't afford to lose Riley because they imply that stuff will happen if that happens.
No, duh. We've been seeing that.
You're like, really? Back at the demon bar, Spike is talking to Willie about his crypt, and then we just jump straight back to the initiative. Okay, thank you. All these like random jumps here and there. You're like, okay.
They're obviously building up to future episodes and stuff, and they need to show that Spike is also an outcast, and I'll talk more about that in the later scene. But yeah, there's like a lot of things going on this episode. It's like stuff with Tara, Spike, oh yeah, and then Riley, and then where's Adam in all this? Like, it's just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Back in Initiative, she follows a scientist, and then Riley comes in as well, and she's interrogating him about Walsh. He says the Walsh wanted her dead, and says it was the project, and that the project escaped. And then Riley is just like he's a struggle bus. He's struggling to like just process what's happening.
Dr. Engelman's like, Finn, take this girl to the stockade immediately. And I'm like, okay, does this guy not know that they are dating? Like, he was there when they introduced Buffy into the Initiative. He knows, like, Maggie talked to this guy about Riley and Buffy. Like, there's just a lot of like, there's things in this episode that just don't make sense.
But also, stockade? What century are we in?
I was just thinking that. Like, what are we thinking? What is that from? Take me to the stockade.
That's literally like medieval, like stockade, like that's like pre-jails. Like
it's not medieval. It's
spirit.
The Wild West. It's the Wild West.
It's a stockade to the post.
How I know they have jail cells. They put all the demons in there. Are those called the stockade? Like it's so stupid.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't even think about that. I'm over here like, dude, you know they're dating. You know he's not going to listen to you. Anyway,
they put her in the town square. People throw tomatoes at her.
Tar and feather her.
How dare she? We don't want to slay her. Get out of our town.
Burn the witch.
For real. Riley gets all grabby again, and then a body just randomly drops, and they're like, what did they ask? What made him answer me? I don't remember.
Okay, so what happens is Buffy's like, why did Maggie want to kill me? Dr. Engelman spills the beans on 314. And then Riley's like freaking out. He's like, what are you talking about? You're making her sound like she was a psychopath. She was a brilliant woman. And I was like, okay, I mean, a psychopath can also be brilliant. Those things aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah. But also, Riley, it's like, dude, she was the leader of a secret government organization, and you don't think she had any secrets?
Yeah, you're expecting full transparency here. Yeah.
And she was female, you guys. So, like, clearly she's not sane.
To the asylum with you.
To the stockade.
Yeah, to the stockade. Sorry. Buffy says, Riley, stop. This is not about us. We just have to find out what was in 314. And then Adam says, me, and drops the body. Okay, like, Leah. Okay, Leah.
This scene is so boring. Like, the way it's shot. No. I have so much more to say. But I'm saying, like, the reveal of the big bad to Buffy is usually, like, a big deal. Sure. You think of, like, when Buffy first saw the Master, when she, like, saw Angelus, not Angel, like, the first time that her and Faith have, like, a real, like, oh, this is who Faith is, not who she has been pretending to be. Like, all of those were deep cutting moments, whereas this is so boring. I think part of it is the scenery. It's so bleak and boring. But also just like the dialogue is so dry. You can tell that 90% of this interaction is purely to just get information out of the way because they want to set up Adam. That's their whole point. They want to set up Adam, and they want to get all questions about Adam and what his main
his goals,
motive.
And motivations.
Yeah, what his motive is going to be. And it's so boring. I was like watching it. I was like, this is so obvious. This is not entertaining to watch. This is just information. And the freaking discs, or whatever the frick they're called.
Floppy disks.
Yeah, floppy disks. Like, as a way to, like, use information was so lazy. It was so lazy. Instead of actually showing Maggie Walsh, like, make him and create him and, like, write in her journal and, like, all that, and having us kind of, like, figure it out ourselves. The fact that, like, it's all just spoken from Adam is so lazy and boring. I just hated this scene. I hated it. I thought, I was like, this insults our intelligence to just be like, this is all the information you need. He's the evil villain. We're all good. End the episode. Like, it was so, I just hated it. I was like, this is annoying to me.
But, like, it doesn't seem very intelligent the way it's written, like, at all. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, the writers have written some beautiful things, but they really dropped the ball here. Like, it was just so obvious. It was talking about how like they're brothers because they like rely on Walsh and like they're like being brainwashed in this way and yada yada yada. They don't know who they are. Are they monster? Are they good? Are they're half man, they're half monster? It's like it's just too much. Like I don't know. I was watching it and I was like, I've seen a lot of things. This one makes me want to like ring my head against the wall. Like, and Buffy is such a great show. And I love it to death, but this is one of those times where I'm just like, what is this? Like, guys, we could do better. We could do better.
Yeah. And it's interesting, so as soon as he drops to the floor, the show doesn't pan over to Buffy to see her reaction to Adam.
It's all Riley.
It pans to Riley. And I mean, we talked about this earlier, but the show is trying to tell us about Riley through Adam. The problem is we haven't learned very much about, again, Riley's motivations, his hopes, his dreams. So this is all news to us. All Things Philosophical says this. Adam knows perfectly well what he is. He's a biomechanical hybrid of demon, human, and machine. Who he is another question. So again, this is a reflection of Riley. He has a name and a mission given to him by a scientist who thought of herself as his mother, but he also has a design flaw that allows him to behave in a way contrary to the mission intended for him, being an obedient demon hunting soldier. If he isn't who he was designed to be, then who is he? Who were the individuals, the demons, the humans that went into making up him? Is he one of those individuals? If not, how much weight does each of those things carry? And that's kind of like, it's a representation of Riley. The thing is, again, we don't care. And it's interesting because the show and the writers, we get the sense, don't seem to know what to do with both Riley and with Adam. And apparently that's what the actor who played Adam thought as well. So here's a quote from George Hertzberg. He was talking about how he went in and he actually was given a monologue of Adam's to do. And it was one of those things that, you know, he took the time to do it and he wasn't sure if like it worked or whatever. And he got an immediate callback, like he wasn't even out of the building. They gave him a couple of adjustments and they had him do it again. They liked his choice, like the way that he did it. He says, I knew that it was a recurring character when I went in, but I didn't know. I still don't really know. This interview was given in the middle of season 4. I still don't really know to what extent because recurring is so ambiguous. They don't know, as far as I understand, what exactly they want Adam to be. All I know is that I'm excited because I have an opportunity to bring a lot of what I want to do to this. I'm so jazzed. It's awesome. So then the interviewer asks him, like what, for example? And he says, a lot of the demons on the show, they kind of know how they want them to be. I think in a way, not that they don't know how they want this character to be, but I think that I have a little room to bring my own take on it a little. I mean, it's a new character that they are developing here. That's kind of what I mean. Besides, I'm grinning from ear to ear. So it sounds like the writers were kind of just like, they had this rough idea of what they wanted Adam to be, but it wasn't fully fleshed out. So they were kind of okay with him bringing his own interpretations to the character because it also helped them inform how they were going to write it. And that's not to say they haven't done this before. They did this with Drusilla. They did this with Spike. And it kind of became their own thing. But it is really interesting that this was like partway through season 4. And they still at that point weren't really sure where they were going with it. I think that's kind of a problem, honestly. And it reflects in the writing.
Sometimes I feel sorry for actors that get put like in these positions because it's like they're trying to do the best of what they're given and they have no control over the scripts and all that stuff. So
Right.
Yeah, that's a hard position to be in.
He seemed to like it because that gave him more freedom. But in the midst of it, you don't know how well it's going to turn out. Is it going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh my gosh. He like pulls out these like floppy disks and then one of them just says, Riley, I was dying. Just saying like his name written on it. Oh my gosh.
It's really stupid, but it's supposed to be the visual representation of how you're fed information and how you don't think for yourself. You're just regurgitating stuff that you've been given.
But I feel like it would have been like cooler if he just had like buttons on his arm or even on his chest and then just pressed it and was like, and just had like
no,
internally.
We have to see each and every like thought change.
Or even if he just like he had like something in his eye that scanned or like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like he looks at somebody and he's like, totally. Riley, and you see him like recognizing. That'd be way cooler than taking out freaking floppy disks.
Yeah.
It just ages it, you know?
Yep.
And then they start fighting. Adam kills Mr. Ankle something.
Enkelman.
Yeah.
Ankle something.
And then he lands a blow to Riley's like rib cage, which yikes. And then Adam leaves while soldiers break down the door. Buffy says he needs to go to the hospital, and Forrest says he's like, we got it.
Yeah, this is interesting. Really briefly, while this isn't a super complex fight scene like other ones, I looked up an interview with Jeff Pruitt, the stunt coordinator, and the interviewer actually asked him how long it takes to get ready to do a fight. And he said that he comes in 30 minutes before. He choreographs the fight 30 minutes before the stunt people get there. And he comes up with the whole thing. And then he teaches it to the stunt people in another 30 minutes. And then the camera crew, the director, and everybody and the actors show up. They literally learn these fights in 30 minutes. And I thought that was absolutely insane and impressive.
Good for them. I know, because it takes them usually like on like the weekends to choreograph a lot of like fight stuff. I think it's usually more for like when it's two
Bigger
characters
ones.
that are like like Buffy and Faith, because like those are so like they tell a story while they fight, whereas this one's just kind of like fight and leave.
Well, that one requires so much more from the actors too. Like you actually have to like see their faces versus this one. You don't need to emotionally see what Buffy's going through as she, pummels Adam.
Oh yeah, so the initiative takes Riley. I'm surprised that she just like let them. I'd be like, you're going to a hospital. But then they'd probably think it's like some sort of like overdose of some drug he's been taking or whatever. I don't know. They could figure it out. And then back at the demon bar, the demons beat up Spike and then kick him out. And this part was really interesting. He's like, you think you could just come here and hang out with us? He's like, we've been hearing about all the things you've been doing. You've been like buddy with the Slayer. And he's like, next time you come, we won't like take it so easy on you. And then they leave him outside, and he looks like he was like beat up. And those like demons, like their makeup was really good. The guy's voice was so like deep too and like scary. I was like, wow, like we need more of these demons. These kind of are cool. I feel like the random ones that kind of
replace him with Adam. Let's go. Well, okay, so we noted this in the initiative. There's a lot of parallels between Spike and Riley. Both are outsiders. They're both unsure of where they fit in and belong. And even if the initiative still embraces Riley at this point, he isn't sure if that's where he belongs. And as Buffy says in the next scene, he has nothing to hold on to, and he's alone, just like Spike. And Markfield writes, Spike's experience with the demons in the bar follows the storyline of A Clockwork Orange, which we talked about in the initiative. There, Alex suffered physical violence at the hands of others after his conditioning in prison. In Alex's case, he had no choice because he couldn't fight back. In Spike's case, it's precisely because he can, and therefore does fight demons, that they reject him. We can say that the reaction of other demons is a sign that, like Riley, he's now lost, or he had stolen, the identity he once thought he had. He'll need to construct a new one. So Spike is still an outsider, not sure where he's at. Now Riley has to construct a new identity as well. And so, like, the parallels. It all comes back to Riley. And once again, Riley is the emotional center of the episode. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
All right, almost done, gang.
Woo!
And then outside in the blazing sun, outside campus, Willow and Buffy are talking about all that happened. Kind of have to rehash everything because we're all like, wait, what just happened this episode? And the initiative has Riley. Buffy says that she could barely fight Adam, that he was too strong. You could definitely tell she's been like, oh, I definitely underestimated whoever this thing was. She says that she needs to be with Riley and that she shouldn't have let them take him. And she says that he's all alone and has nothing to hold on to. And then for the last scene, or the last take, in a hospital bed, we're assuming in the initiative, Riley looks at his bandaged hand with her bandana on it, and then it goes to black.
Yep. Looks at this point like he's really just holding on because of Buffy, which can be good or can be bad because it seems like she's the only thing he has right now. Well, we did it, gang. We did it. I feel like from here on out, it gets a little bit easier. And I'm excited about the next couple of episodes because somebody from our past is going to come back. And I'm so excited to talk about it. It's going to be really, really fun.
Spoilers. Just kidding.
All right, guys, that was Goodbye Iowa. Let us know your guys' thoughts. Do you guys did you ever notice that Riley is kind of the emotional crux of season 4? We keep talking about it, but what do you guys think they could have done better? How do you think we could have resonated a little bit more with Adam, with Riley, with maybe other people in this episode? What would you have changed if you could have changed it, if you were in charge? Let us know. As always, you guys can find us on Instagram, on TikTok, on Tumblr at Becoming Buffy Podcast, and you can email us at becomingbuffypodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on all platforms, guys, and we will see you next time.